All right. Let me turn that off. Perfect. Hello, hello. Should be good. Get rid of that. All right. All right. Just got a confirmation that everything is working as expected on all platforms. And I think we're good to go. So, hello, everyone, as always, and welcome. Thank you for finding the time to join us today. My name is Stan, and today's session is called The Gap Between ERP and Data and Warehouse Reality. Here's a promise for today. Almost every company I talk to has invested heavily in an ERP and trusts it mostly. But there's this quiet, persistent gap between what the system says is happening in the warehouse and what's actually happening on the floor. That gap is where money leaks, where orders slip, and where people slowly stop trusting the numbers. So, over the next hour, we're going to look at exactly where that gap comes from, what it really costs, and most importantly, how to close it without tearing anything down. Quick word on who's talking, so you know where this is coming from. Let me go to the next slide here. So I'm a partner and client solutions executive at Cleverance. A little bit tongue-tied today. And I've spent more than 10 years working hands-on in warehouse and inventory automation. And when I say hands-on, I mean I've been on the floor actually working as a picker, and as well as actually working with automation. So worked with wholesalers, with dealerships, manufacturers, e-commerce retailers, you name it. Different industries, but honestly, the same story shows up pretty much everywhere. Good businesses held back by the gap between what their system believes and what their warehouse is actually doing. So everything I'll share today comes from watching that pattern play out in real operations, not from a whiteboard. All right. So let's get into it. And today's plan, we'll start with why ERP data and warehouse reality drift apart in the first place. Then we'll put a real number on the hidden cost of that drift because it's bigger than most people think. From there, we get practical, what real-time warehouse control actually means, and how automation, mobile workflows, barcode, and RFID all come together to deliver it. I'll walk you through an implementation roadmap and the common mistakes that quietly sink these projects. We'll look at a real customer case, and I'll leave you with a free guide you can put to work right away, as always. So let's begin with where every good decision begins, with the system that's supposed to know everything. Let's frame the whole problem with one simple picture. Think of your ERP as the brain of the business. It plans, it calculates, it reports. It decides what to buy, what to promise customers, what the inventory is worth on the balance sheet. It's genuinely brilliant at all of that. But a brain doesn't touch the physical world directly. It depends entirely on the signals coming in from the senses. And in a business, the warehouse is where reality actually happens, where goods move, where items get picked, where the real state of the world is created. So if the signals coming from the warehouse are late or incomplete or wrong, then even a perfect brain makes bad decisions. Great planning on top of bad signals still produces the wrong answer. The whole game then is capturing what happens on the floor accurately and in real time. So the brain is working with the truth. Now, why is this harder than it used to be? Well, because the warehouse itself has changed. Look at what's happened over the last few years. You're managing more SKUs than ever. Order cycles are faster, delivery windows are smaller. Customers want it today, not this week. So expectations keep climbing. And through all of that, there's more pressure on the same labor. Here's the thing: the demands went up dramatically, but in a lot of operations, the data capture method didn't. It's still clipboards, still memory, or someone typing into a spreadsheet at the end of the shift. That approach was fine when the warehouse was slower and simpler, but now it simply cannot keep pace with a modern operation. The manual method hasn't failed you; it's just been outgrown. Um, and let's go to the next slide. And I want to be really precise about the nature of the problem because this is where people misdiagnose it. Your ERP data is actually correct. It's not that someone typed in garbage. The problem is timing. Reality moves much faster than the updates. Think about the everyday moments. Goods are received at the dock, but not posted in the system yet. Stock gets moved to a new location, but nobody registered the move. Items are picked for an order, but the pick isn't confirmed. An error is spotted on the floor, but it's never synchronized back. In each case, the physical world and the digital record are both true. They're just true at different moments in time. And in a fast operation, that little lag between doing and recording is exactly the gap we are here to close. So, where does that lag actually get introduced? Everywhere there's a manual touch point. And I want you to reframe how you see these because each one is really a risk point. Paper based receiving. That's a handoff where information can get lost or delayed. Verbal instructions, for example, just put it in the back, we'll sort it later. It's great until nobody remembers. So manual stock transfers with no system entry is another one. Delayed ERP posting, where the data sits in someone's stack until end of the day, and the classic spreadsheet corrections, where somebody quietly fixes, in quotes, the numbers offline. None of these are dramatic on their own, but every single one is a moment where reality and the record can diverge. And they stack up shift after shift. Now, here's where it gets expensive. And I mean, generally quantifiably expensive. When people think about inaccurate data, they think, okay, the stock count is a bit off. But the stock count being wrong is just the visible symptom. The real cost is everything that number drags down with it. Um, Start with lost labor time. People hunting for stock, the system swore was there. Then picking mistakes because the record led them wrong. Then emergency replenishment, where you're paying premium prices and rush shipping to cover a shortage you didn't know you had. Then delayed shipments, which land straight on your customer. And underneath all of it, the most corrosive cost of all, reduced trust in the ERP itself. Once your team stops believing the system, they stop using it properly, and now you've undermined the very investment meant to run the business. That's the true bill for inaccuracy. And it's a lot bigger than wrong count. Um, Let me make that concrete because I think we've all lived this once. It starts small, the ERP shows stock available, a customer orders it, um, sales promises it, everyone's happy. Then the picker goes to the location and the item isn't there. Now the clock starts. The picker flags it, a supervisor gets pulled in to investigate. Where did it go? Was it miscounted, misplaced, already shipped? That's two people now off their normal work, doing detective work, essentially. Meanwhile, the order sits. The order is delayed, and at the very end of the chain is a customer who was promised something and didn't get it on time. One incorrect record, a single line in a database set off a cascade that consumed labor, blew a deadline, and dinged a customer relationship. That's the chain reaction, and it's running quietly in a lot of warehouses every single day. And when this happens often enough, people stop trusting the system, as I mentioned, and they do something very human about it. So, and here's what they do when they've been burned by the numbers a few too many times. They quietly build their own parallel systems. And this is one of the most expensive things that can happen to an operation, precisely because it's invisible and it looks like shadow spreadsheets that live on somebody's desktop. Manual double checking of things the system should already guarantee. Local tribal knowledge, where the real stock status lives in one veteran's head instead of in the ERP. Extra approvals added because nobody trusts the first number. And the sum of all of it is more operational friction every day. Notice the irony. You bought an ERP system to create one source of truth, and the data gap has spawned a dozen little unofficial ones. Closing the gap isn't just about accuracy, it's about earning back the trust that lets people actually rely on the system. So let's flip the whole thing around. Everything we've talked about so far treats the warehouse as the place where data goes wrong. But it can be exactly the opposite. The warehouse can become your single most reliable source of business truth because it's where reality actually happens. So, what does it take? Well, I'm going to put it into 5 things. You capture events right at the source, the moment they happen. You validate the action instantly, so mistakes get caught on the spot instead of 3 days later. You synchronize with the ERP, so the record and reality stay in step. You guide the worker step by step, so the right things happen the right way. And you measure performance continuously, so you're always improving. Do those 5 things, and the warehouse stops being the source of your data problems and becomes the source of your data confidence. Here's a useful way to think about the roles. Your ERP is your system of record. It handles the planning and the accounting, the big brain, that we talked about. But what's been missing for most companies is a true system of execution, something that captures real-time activity on the floor and turns it into guided action. That's what mobile workflows provide. Guided actions in the hands of the operator or the worker. And the integration layer is what stitches the two worlds together. So the system of record and the system of execution becomes one connected process instead of two disconnected halves. That's the shift from a business that only records what happened to a business that guides and captures what's happening live. Now, I want to correct a really common misconception because it changes everything about how you evaluate a solution. A lot of people hear warehouse automation and think it just means scanning. Beep, capture the barcode, done. But scanning is only a data point. Real automation is process control. Let me show you the difference. Process control means standardized workflows, so every worker does the task the same correct way. It means real-time validation. The device tells you immediately if you grabbed the wrong item before it goes out the door. It means location-based actions. So the system knows where things should be and directs accordingly. It means exception handling. So a defined path for when something is short or damaged instead of a shrug and a no. And it means ERP synchronization. So all of that flows back automatically. So hopefully you see the difference. A scanner records that something happened. Process control decides and guides what should happen next. That's the whole leap. And if that sounds like a big leap, I want to reassure you, it's a staircase. It's not a cliff. There's a practical sequential path from manual work to a fully connected operations, and you climb it one step at a time. First, you digitize warehouse events. Just get them out of paper and into a system. Then you add barcode or RFID capture for accuracy. Then you guide mobile workflows so the work is directed, not improvised. And then you integrate with the ERP so it all connects. And finally, you optimize using the KPI data you're now collecting. Each step delivers value on its own, and each one sets up the next. You don't have to boil the ocean, you just have to take the first step. Now, let's open up the toolbox because people often ask me which technology do I actually need, barcode or RFID or mobile? And the honest answer is that they're not competitors. They each play a distinct role, and they're strongest together, if it makes sense. Um, so barcodes give you precise item level confirmation. This exact item right here confirmed. RFID gives you fast bulk identification. So reading many tags at once without line of sight. Brilliant for high volume moments. Mobile devices are what put guided execution into the worker's hand, walking them through the task. So just to reiterate, you need a mobile device either with RFID or barcode scanning technology to be able to do this. ERP integration is what keeps every record synchronized so nothing lives in isolation. And tying it all together is a rules engine that handles the exceptions in a controlled way. So when reality doesn't match the plan, there's a defined path instead of chaos. So it's not pick one, it's the right combination for your operation working as one system. And the platform's job is to orchestrate all of them so it feels simple to the person that is actually doing the work. So let's walk it through a couple of real processes, starting with receiving, because receiving is where data accuracy is either won or lost. Everything downstream inherits whatever you record at the dock. If it's wrong here, it's pretty much wrong everywhere after. Done right, it looks like this. You scan the delivery documents to know what should be arriving. You validate against the purchase order so you catch those discrepancies immediately. Right quantity, right items, right supplier. You confirm the item and quantity by scan, not by eyeball. Then you assign allocation so the system knows exactly where it went. And you post the result to the ERP right away. Notice there's no lag in that sequence and no memory required. The truth is captured at the moment the goods arrive, which means the gap never opens up in the first place. Now, the other end of the operation, order fulfillment, where accuracy directly touches your customer. This is the process where a mistake ships out the door and becomes someone else's bad day. So here the workflow directs the picker straight to the location. No wandering, no guessing. It confirms the item by scan, so you're certain it's the right one before it's in the box. It checks the quantity instantly. It handles substitutions or shortages in a controlled way, right in the flow, instead of the picker improvising. And it confirms shipment status, so everyone downstream knows exactly what went out. Every one of these every one of those is a real-time confirmation. The order that leaves your building matches the order the customer placed because the system verified it at each step rather than hoping it was right. Now, I want you to locate yourself on this ladder that's on the screen, honestly, as I walk through it, because knowing where you stand is the whole start of the journey. So, level one is paper based. It works, but the main limitation is slow visibility. You find out what happened long after it happened. Level two is manual ERP updates. That is better, but you're living with delayed accuracy. The lag we keep coming back to. Now, level three is barcode workflows, which gives you generally controlled execution, a real step up. Level four is integrated mobile processes. And this is where the magic happens. Real-time synchronization, where the floor and the ERP finally move together. And level 5 is data-driven optimization. So using all of that clean data for predictive improvement. Now, most growing operations I meet are somewhere around level 2 or 3, and they feel the friction of it. The level that actually closes the gap we've been discussing all session is level 4, integrated, mobile, synchronized, in real time. That's the realistic high impact target. Level 5 is a wonderful horizon to aim for once you're there. But level 4 is where the ERP warehouse gap generally closes. So, where are you today? So, if anything, drop a comment. I'll take a look at it in a minute. And now the fear that comes up the moment we talk about change. Can't afford to stop my warehouse to can't afford to stop the warehouse to fix the warehouse. Completely fair. So here's the roadmap that lets you close the gap without disrupting operations. 6 stages designed so the business keeps running the whole time. The first thing to do, you got to assess. So diagnose the process gaps and figure out where the pain actually is. Then you design, prioritize the high impact workflows and standardize your master data, because clean data is the foundation everything sits on. Then you pilot. You don't flip a switch across the whole building. You run mobile execution on the contained area and prove it. Then you integrate and scale. So that's where you connect to the ERP and roll it out step by step. And finally, you optimize, measure, and improve continuously, just like we talked about. The word I want you to hold on to is pilot. You start small, you prove the value in a controlled corner of the operation, and then you expand from a position of confidence. That's how you transform without disruption. You never bet the whole operation on day one. Yeah, let's go to the next one. So, are we on the right slide? Yeah, cool. So, let me be straight with you, because I'd rather you hear this from someone who wants you to succeed. Not every automation project delivers. That's just the reality. Some underwhelm, and after 10 years, the reasons are remarkably consistent, which is good news because it means they're avoidable. The number one killer, and we've talked about this multiple times, but it is automating broken processes. If a process is a mess and you automate it, you now have a faster, more expensive mess. Fix the process first. Second is ignoring the warehouse users. Designing something in an office that the people on the floor can't or won't use. That's a huge one. Third one is weak master data quality, because automation on top of bad data just spreads the bad data faster. And fourth, no exception logic. No plan for when reality doesn't match, and reality never fully matches. And the last one, poor ERP integration design, where the two systems technically connect but don't truly talk to each other. Every one of these is preventable, which brings us to the flip side. So here's what the companies that get real lasting value do differently. And notice the theme running through all of it. They start with the process, not the device. They get the how should this work right before they pick a gadget. They capture data at the point of action, the moment and place it actually happens, not later. They make workflows generally simple for the users, because a tool people actually want to use is a tool that works for them specifically. They validate every critical moment, so errors are caught live, and they connect operations to the ERP in real time, closing the whole loop. The through line is that technology is in service of the process and the people, never the reverse. Get that order right, and these projects don't just work, they actually stick. Let's zoom out and talk plainly about the payoff. What actually improves when warehouse reality and ERP data finally line up, because this is the reason we do any of it. You get high inventory accuracy. The number on the screen is the actual number on the shelf. You get faster receiving and picking because guided workflows cut out the searching and second guessing, which of course save time. You get fewer shipment errors, which protects your customer relationships. You get lower manual admin work because the data captures itself instead of someone re-keying it. And maybe the most underrated one is better planning confidence. When leadership trusts the data, they make bolder, faster, and better decisions because they're not hedging against numbers they don't truly believe. These typically compound together in Cleverance's customers' operations. It's not one lever, it's the whole system getting healthier at once. Now, on the data gap, I want to make a point here, especially for anyone building the internal case for this, because it's easy to think of it as just a warehouse thing. It isn't. One data gap ripples across the entire organization. Everyone's affected, whether they realize it or not. Operations needs faster execution. IT needs stable, reliable integration. Finance needs accurate inventory value because, of course, that number sits on the balance sheet and in every margin calculation. Sales needs reliable availability so they can promise what's really there. And management needs trustworthy reporting to steer the whole ship. Look at that list. That's the whole company. So when you close the warehouse data gap, you're not doing a favor for one department. You're actually serving operations, IT, finance, sales, and management all at once. That's how you build the business case. It's not a warehouse project, it's a company project. That's very important to understand. And now let's talk about the human side, because this is where a lot of technically sound projects quietly fail. Technology only works when the people actually trust the workflow. And trust isn't a slogan, it's built in a specific sequence. It starts with, with clarity. Clear task instructions, so the worker always knows what to do next. Clarity builds confidence, so minimal manual entries, so the tool feels like help, not homework. Confidence builds accuracy, fast feedback on errors, catching mistakes gently and immediately. Accuracy with simple exception handling builds trust, and trust, once earned, drives improvement because now people can see visible performance gains and they want more of it. So clarity, confidence, accuracy, trust, improvement. Skip the human chain, and even perfect technology gets quietly worked around. Honor it, on the other hand, and adoption takes care of itself. So let's paint the destination. What the warehouse looks like once you've done all of this. 3 words: connected, guided, measurable. It runs on real time inventory truth. The record and reality are one. It's mobile first in execution with the work directed from the device in hand. It has barcode and RFID visibility, so you always know what's where. It's built on integrated ERP processes, one connected loop. And it's a place of continuous optimization, always getting a little better because the data lets you see clearly. That's not science fiction and it's not 5 years away. It's a set of choices available now, and every customer I work with is somewhere on that path. Now, let me tie the whole argument together in one clean thought because if you remember one slide, maybe make it this one. Closing the gap takes more than ERP alone. Your ERP is essential, but it's not sufficient by itself. The ERP needs accurate operational input to do its job. Warehouse reality has to be captured instantly, not eventually. The automation has to follow your real workflows, not force everyone into someone else's idealized process. Integration is what turns all of that floor activity into genuine business data. And KPIs are what prove the value, so you know it's working and keep improving. So, your ERP isn't the problem, and it isn't going anywhere. It just needs a system of execution underneath it, feeding it the truth. That's the missing piece. Okay, let's take stock of where we are together, because we're actually covered a lot of ground at this point. So we understand the gap, why it opens, and what it costs. We know the transformation path, the levels, the roadmap, the pilot first approach, and we know what the technology has to support: capture, validation, guided workflows, real time integration. Which means there's really only one question left standing. If we agree on the strategy, the natural next question is, what should the platform that delivers all of this actually look like? So let's answer that. So we've earned the right to talk specifics. Here's the shape of the right platform. And here's my answer. And this is criteria you can use to evaluate anything, including us. The right platform combines four things: execution, validation, integration, and scalability. Let me break that down into what to actually look for. Look for mobile workflows built for real operations, not an office app squeezed onto a phone, like a web app that was just put on, onto the phone. Look for embedded business logic. So the intelligence lives in the workflow itself. Look for online and offline support because, let's be honest, warehouses have dead zones and the work can't stop when the Wi-Fi does. Look for fast integration with your enterprise systems so it connects without a year-long project. Um, Quick note on that: it doesn't have to connect right away, but you want to make sure that whatever solution you opt into, it actually can connect to your enterprise systems. So, also look for flexibility across multiple use cases. So, one platform serves receiving, picking, transfers, and more. And of course, look for control, visibility, and growth potential, something that scales with you. Whatever you evaluate, hold it against the list. So let me show you what that actually looks like in practice. This is the whole system in one picture, and yeah, been using this image. I love it because it captures the human reality of it. On the left, you've got the warehouse worker. There's no paperwork in his hands, just a scanner and a mobile workflow. He's doing on-site verification, confirming reality right where it happens in a comfortable, convenient mobile workplace. And on the right, you've got the manager at his desk. Through real-time data exchange, he has remote supervision. He can see what's happening on the floor as it happens without actually walking out there. And the result of that connection is an accurate ERP document status, live. Look at the two of them, the worker, the manager, connected in real time, both trusting the same picture. That's the gap closed. Boom, done. That's the whole session in one frame. So that's that. Let's move to the next one. And let's talk numbers. Use this multiple times, but it shows the whole picture very, very well. So let's talk these numbers. As I promised, we'll put a real figure on this. And once again, I want to be very clear about what this table is showing because it's easy to misread. This is not a software price list. What you're looking at is the total operational cost of running your inventory process a given way. So the labor, the errors, the rework, the emergency purchases, the admin time, all rolled together. It's the cost of the whole method, not a line item. And when you look at it that way, the pattern is striking. Running inventory through pure manual checking costs an operation on the order of $10,000 a month, around $120,000 a year, once you count all of that wasted time and error. Move to spreadsheets, and it's roughly $8,000 a month. A USB barcode scanner setup around $4,000, a basic barcode app about $2,500. And a proper connected approach like Cleverance brings that total operational cost down to around $1,000 a month. So that's roughly $12,000 a year. So you can see the difference. It's huge. So the headline is this. Excuse me. Companies typically reduce their monthly operational cost by around 90%, on the order of $9,000 a month, or $108,000 every year. And again, that saving isn't a discount on software. It's the cost of chaos disappearing. It's the labor you get back, the errors you stop paying for, the emergency shipments you no longer need. That's what closing the gap is worth. So let's take a look at Cleverance products. So who we are and what do we actually offer. So Cleverness is a family of products, all built on that same idea of guided mobile connected execution, and each one is tuned for a different part of the operation. There's inventory for accurate stock management and counting, mostly used in a warehouse scenario. There is store ops for retail store operations, delivery ops for the delivery and logistics side, factory ops for manufacturing environments, and assets for tracking and managing your equipment and fixed assets. And on the device there, you can see it in action: goods arrival, pick and ship, stock taking, move between locations, all of the different operations that you need. Obviously, in different operations, um, you have different operations, so different things that you're going to be seeing on the screen. But you get the point. So whatever corner of your operation has the biggest gap, there's a product built close to it. Now, let me pull the capabilities together on one page, because this is really the platform summary. Everything we've discussed delivered through 4 pillars. At its core, Cleverness automates business operations that deal with real physical assets. So, items, whatever you want to call it, products. Capturing data accurately, tracking and managing it through connected devices, reducing manual errors and speeding everything up. Pillar 1: mobile and connected devices. Smartphones, tablets, rugged handhelds, so data entry and access happen on the go, right at the point of action. Pillar 2: barcode and RFID technology. Speeding up inventory checks and asset tracking with quick, reliable identification. Pillar 3: real time data integration with your existing ERP or any other enterprise or accounting system, whatever. So information stays consistent and up to date across the board. No lag, no rekey. And pillar 4: customizable workflows. So the platform bends to match your specific processes instead of forcing you to bend to it. Mobile capture, barcode and RFID, real time integration, flexible workflows. That's the platform, and that's exactly what closing the gap requires. And if any of this resonates, let me make the next part completely painless. Here's exactly how working with us unfolds step by step, so there's no mystery. It starts with a pre-sale brief. You pick a convenient time to share your project details and goals with us. Then you join a chat where you start direct communication with your dedicated project manager to align on expectations and strategy. Then there's a demo, hands-on experience with the product, especially if your start date is within the next couple of weeks. You can, by the way, if we're not doing customizable workflows, so you can even download the demo right now on cleverness.com, try it out, see how that works out. Then you receive the commercial offer after we've done the demonstration, personalized to your actual project scope and timeline, not a generic quote. Again, we want to tailor our solution to your specific operation. And then comes project implementation, where we start putting the Cleverness product to work. Clear, guided, one step at a time, the same way the software itself works. Now, a quick case study. This is APMG, a spare parts e-commerce operation based in UAE, in Dubai. Serious operation, around 100,000 SKUs and growing. 17 workers on the floor, I think even more now. And here's the important part, because it's a very honest story. APMG already had a functioning custom ERP. It worked. This was not a case of ripping out a system and starting over. What they were missing was location level visibility inside their warehouse. Picture the space. The front half stored bulky, sometimes damaged items like windshields, and the back half was rows of plastic bins for address storage. The problem was inefficient order processing, frequent picking errors, and time consuming product searches. People spending real time just hunting for where things were. That was dragging down productivity across the board. So, what did we do? We did not replace their ERP. We added an address storage layer on top of it. We brought in Zebra mobile computers and Cleverness software to make the operations mobile. The delivery plan document, the order supplier document, placement into the cell, and collecting orders for shipment, all guided from the handheld device. We closed the gap between their good ERP and their warehouse reality. And the results speak for themselves. A 4-time increase in inventory turnover ratio, more than 10,000 square meters of storage area brought under proper addressed control, and a 99% reduction in staff errors. Running on, as I mentioned, over 17 mobile devices at this point. That strategic shift to mobile operations cut out the manual data entry and the physical trips to verify information, and accuracy and speed climbed sharply. Same ERP, but now it finally knew the truth of what was on the floor. So, as promised, let me leave you with something you could use whether or not we ever speak again. After this webinar, you get a free PDF guide. It's just understanding of where you are at, so you can address everything we talked about today, and it maps out exactly how to return bills as you move up those maturity levels that we talked about. A practical companion to everything that we covered today. So keep an eye out for that. It'll come your way after we wrap. And that brings us to the end. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I genuinely hope you're walking away seeing your own operation a little differently, not with a broken ERP, but with a gap. You now know how to close. So if anything today sparked a question about your specific setup, your industry, where you would even start, please reach out. You can call me, text me, use WhatsApp, email, Telegram. Everything is on the screen. You can actually scan the QR code as well. I'd love to hear where your warehouse sits on that ladder and talk through the very next step. Now, if there's any questions, write in the comments. I'm going to check it out in a minute. But that's about it for me. So thank you very much for everyone who has attended today. Looking forward to the next session. That's it for me. Thank you so much once again. Hope you all have a wonderful day and catch you in the next one. All right. Cheers. Bye-bye.